Hello beautifuls, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I shoot and edit my photos at home. I can't wait to show you guys my photo shoot process. This is going to be super fun and simple. Most importantly, you're going to want to look up inspo on Pinterest and get an overall vibe of what photo shoot you want to do. Find poses, maybe some outfit ideas. Here, this is my outfit that I chose. I actually have about 3 outfits that I'm just going to try on and mess around with. So today I'm just going to do a simple makeup routine for you guys, just taking care of my skin, doing some foundation, and then a light eye makeup. I usually don't go too crazy on the makeup, but for you guys, if you want to, it all depends on the vibe, like the outfit, the makeup look. Really find your inspiration first, and that's going to help you for the photo shoot process, because you don't want to save everything until the last moment, because photo shoots actually take quite a while to plan and prep for, so make sure you're prepared ahead of time. So here's my before look and here's my after. This is going to be my first outfit and makeup all complete. So moving on to the equipment, I just have my Canon EOS R. I have 2 soft boxes, a tripod, and 2 light stands. And this is what I'm going to be using. You by no means need any of this. You can just use your phone. But because I do photography on the side, I am going to use this stuff for my photo shoot. Other than that, that's all the equipment I'm going to use. I'm just going to set it up here. I'm going to put the stands together. I'm going to put the soft boxes and lights on the stand. And that is my setup. That's pretty much it. And I have a pretty small room, actually a really small room. So somehow I fit this all in the same space. And this is the final setup. I have a mirror just to help me when I'm posing. And as you can see, this is the space that I have to work with, and not a lot of area for a photo shoot. But now I'm just gonna head into the photo shoot, and so I'm gonna put my Canon on a tripod and just keep it recording. This is easier for me to just record it and then screenshot the poses that I like later. This first look, here you can see the picture that I'm kind of basing my first photo on. Don't make fun of me, okay? I'm trying to like balance on my toes to get this like knee to chest look. I thought it looked really cool on Pinterest, so I'm just gonna try to recreate it. For the second look, I had this idea to like illuminate the background and then have my hands up and some motion in front of my face, and I think the photo came out really good. I actually like how it turned out in the end. So once I'm done with the photo shoot portion, I'm just going to go through all those videos and screenshot the poses that I like the most, and then I'm going to bring those screenshots into Lightroom, and I'm just going to go through the basic color grading of these photos. I feel like most of you guys know how to edit photos in Lightroom, but I'm just going to quickly show you my process. So I'm basically just going to go through all these colors and quickly toggle through each one to see what the colors do and how it changes. Some of the colors aren't going to be prominent in my image, so like blue or purple, I'm not going to see a change because I don't really have those colors in this photo, but I'm still going to toggle through them just to see. So for my editing process, I actually, for each photo shoot and photo, I edit separately. Like I don't have a preset for one image because your lighting setup's going to be different, your colors are going to be different, no photo is going to really be the exact same. So please don't copy my numbers on this. Do your own editing and figure out what works best for your photo, and that's going to really help you in the end, because what looks good on my photo is not going to look good on your photo. So I am going to copy the effects I did to this image, because if you see the next photo I bring up, it's the exact same, just a different pose. So I can actually paste this preset because the lighting and the colors are the same, and that just makes this process a lot easier if you have 2 photos that do look very similar. So now I'm just going to take you through my editing process in Photoshop. You guys don't need to do this, but if you want to have the more like perfected smooth skin look, you're more than welcome to follow what I do. So first, you're going to duplicate the background twice by hitting Command J. One is going to be called the skin layer and one is the texture layer. So I'm just going to hit the skin layer. Go up to filter. You can't see this on my screen, but you're going to go up to the top, hit filter. You're then going to go to blur and Gaussian blur. And what this is going to do is blur your image and kind of mesh the colors together. This editing process is called frequency separation, and it's basically just separating the skin colors from the skin texture. So as you can see, I turned off the texture layer and you can just see the blurred colors. Turn the texture back on, you can see the more details, the texture in my skin. So now I'm just gonna hit texture. I'm gonna go to image and apply image. And so now you're just gonna hit layer, you're gonna hit skin, make sure this is inverted, so your picture is gonna turn gray. Make sure the blending mode is on add, 100% opacity, and make sure the scale is 2. I'm gonna hit OK, and then I'm just gonna take the texture layer and I'm gonna change the blending mode to linear light. You can see once I hit linear light, the picture is no longer gray. It is now gonna go back to how it looked before. I'm gonna turn the texture layer on and off, and as you can see, you have now separated the skin from the texture. As you can see, I made a skin copy layer just in case I make a mistake. I then have a skin layer to fall back on. So I'm going over to tools and hitting the healing brush tool. And this is a tool that I'm going to use to sample a color from my skin and move it to another area of my skin. I'm just going to use the bracket keys to make my brush bigger and smaller and make it the size of how I need it for the area of skin. I'm going to turn off the texture layer and make sure you're on the skin copy layer because the effects are going to be applied to the color blurring portion of this, not the texture. So make sure the texture layer is off. And now what I'm going to do is actually hit Option on my keyboard. And that hitting Option is going to take a sample of a color in one spot, and then you're going to go over another spot with that color, and you're just going to keep doing this process. What you don't want to do though is, say you find like a shadow, you don't want to sample from a shadow portion and then go over like a highlighted portion because these colors are not going to mesh well together. And I'm actually using my Wacom tablet or Wacom tablet to make this process easier. I'm pretty much just drawing on the tablet, and that's a whole lot easier than using a mouse for this process. And I completely recommend you getting a tablet if you're gonna start doing this to your photos. It just makes the process a whole lot faster than if you were like clicking and clicking with your mouse. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna sample an area of one color and move it and like pretty much brush it onto another area to blend all these colors together and really just make all these colors look smoother. So now I'm going to do effects to the texture of my skin. So I'm going to duplicate the texture layer. I'm going to turn off the bottom texture layer though, because if you don't, your image is going to look very, very sharp. So I'm going to go over to tools, and this time I'm going to use the clone stamp tool. Now this pretty much does the same as the healing brush tool, except it's specifically for the texture. So this is for like any bumps or pimples that you want to get rid of. This is easily going to sample texture and color from one area and move it to another area. So as you can see, I have some like dark spots on my forehead. I'm just going to hit Option again and move these areas that are smooth, and then I'm going to move it over the areas that aren't so smooth. And this is actually a shorter process than the healing brush. I think blending the colors and making the skin colors look smooth, that's going to take the longest amount of time. If you guys just want to do like, if you want to remove a few pimples, you can do that in Lightroom, or you can also do it in Photoshop by using the clone stamp tool. So a helpful shortcut key that you guys will probably use, I know I do a lot, is the Command Z. And this is just in case you guys make a mistake and you're like, oh no, how do I change this? Command Z will undo any change that you just made. Once I'm done going over all the skin texture, I want to show you guys what to do if you run into an issue like this. So I have a piece of dust or lint on my dress, and I'm using the clone stamp tool to get rid of it, but it's just blending the white into the green, which does not look good. So what tool I'm actually going to use is the patch tool. And this tool, you're just going to make a circle around the selection. And once you have that selection, you're going to move it to another area. And this actually does a better job at masking out this piece of dust. But really for things like this, it's really just a trial and error. Some things work and some things don't. So I would move through the patch tool, the healing brush tool, and the clone stamp tool. As you can see here, there's like this doorway behind in the background, and I'm using the patch tool, but it's really not doing a great job at removing it. So I'm moving the selection to the white wall, but it's making it lighter, but it's not removing it completely. So I moved from using the patch tool to the healing brush tool. I thought maybe this would work. So I sampled the wall, and then I went over the doorway, and nothing was working. So at this point, I'm like, what is going on? So then I move over to the clone stamp tool. I sample the wall, and then I go over the doorway. Again, nothing worked. So what I actually had to do was, instead of being on the texture layer, I actually needed to be on the skin layer. So I go to the skin layer, and then I'm actually gonna go over and hit the healing brush tool. I'm gonna try this. So I sample the wall, and then I'm gonna go over the doorway. As you can see, this is blending it out much better, but it's still not as good as I want it. It's doing a better job than the patch tool, but I need these darker colors to be completely gone. I want it exactly like the white wall. So I tried this for a bit, and then when I figured out this was not working, I actually stopped using that, and I ended up going to the clone stamp. And as you can see, I sampled the wall and then went over these blurred darker colors, and it cloned exactly how I wanted it to. So in the end, I just finished out carving out the little fingers, and then this photo was done. So with this, I'm going to conclude the video. Here are the final images, and I'm so proud of how they turned out. I hope this video inspired you guys to do your own photo shoot and gave you some inspiration. I hope my editing process helped some of you guys, and if you liked it, give a like and leave a subscribe. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye!